Mount Vesuvius preserved the shapes of its victims at Pompeii, but while these shapes remain at the site today, bones and teeth are all that's left of the people inside. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius was both a horrific tragedy and a rare gift to the present. Typically, historical records describe the feats of rulers and outcomes of war, not the everyday lives of those considered beneath notice. The Berkshire Archaeological Society claims that literacy in Rome equaled about 15%, but this figure varied wildly from place to place and over time. Meanwhile, the people of Pompeii went about their daily lives with no one to speak for them. The ash and lava of Vesuvius not only gave them a voice, it preserved their shapes, but obviously it came at a deadly cost.
They're all consuming this.
Dust.
Tiny particles of rock. They're breathing in Vesuvius.
Pompeii was once a thriving city. Located along the modern-day Bay of Naples, it was a popular resort for wealthy Roman citizens. In addition to restaurants, bathhouses, taverns, and lavish villas, the city featured paved streets, gorgeous artwork, public fountains, and more. Thanks to the eruption, we have access to surprising elements of daily life, like pornographic frescoes and graffiti. In short, Pompeii was a real place full of real people whose lives were preserved by the very volcano that destroyed them.
The sudden nature of the destruction has created a sort of time capsule of ancient Roman times.
Even though the preserved remains of Pompeii tell much of what happened in 79 AD, we also have a single eyewitness account from Pliny the Younger, nephew of renowned Roman scholar Pliny the Elder. The people of Pompeii did have warnings leading up to the eruption. Earthquakes struck the region for 17 years beforehand.
Now you've made the heavens angry.
But once Vesuvius finally blew, those who didn't heed the signs had no time to escape. It was the swiftness of the volcanic fallout that sealed both the fates and bodies of Pompeii in place. In 2 letters to Roman politician Cornelius Tacitus, Pliny the Younger wrote about his uncle Pliny the Elder dying from presumed asphyxiation as he rushed toward Vesuvius to save friends and family. Pliny the Younger describes pine tree-shaped smoke rising from Vesuvius and spreading like branches at the top, writing, "It was sometimes bright and sometimes dark and spotted, according as it was more or less impregnated with earth and cinders, which grew thicker and hotter the nearer he approached, fell into the ships, together with pumice stones and black pieces of burning rock. They tied pillows to their heads to protect them from falling rocks." But after getting separated, Pliny writes about finding his uncle, saying, "His body was found entire and without any marks of violence upon it, in the dress in which he fell, and looking more like a man asleep than dead." The eruption came in phases. The first phase consisted of pumice stones falling from the sky.
The wind drives the cloud directly over Pompeii, stealing its daylight and plunging it into a living nightmare.
These smashed through roofs and hit people directly or caused debris to fall on people. Many, if not most, died during this phase, as the total debris reached almost 10 feet high. Those who died were swallowed by pyroclastic flow, a combination of hot ash, chunky lava, searing gas, and pumice. But the reason the bodies were preserved in the way that they were is because they were then covered in a blanket of ash, which kept their forms intact even after their biological matter deteriorated to nothing but teeth and bones. The ash, plus whatever other materials landed in the layer of lava and pyroclastic flow, solidified and hardened into place, ensuring preservation over time. The shapes of the dead don't only portray their torsos, limbs, or even facial expressions. Some of them even depict people's clothing, like the dress of a young woman twisted around her waist and lifted above her legs. It's a stunning, sometimes ghastly, awe-inspiring reminder of mortality. The plaster casting process was a simple but exceedingly clever process. In the 1860s, Pompeii's excavators started coming across pockets of space beneath the site's hardened lava and ash. Sometimes the pockets contained bones, sometimes not. Naples-born Giuseppe Fiorelli developed a method for boring holes down to the cavities and pouring plaster into the hole to fill out its shape. His method also worked for everyday objects, animals, plants, and so forth.
This isn't a mummified body, but its negative imprint. Absence became presence.
Over 1,000 bodies have been unearthed since 1863, and over 100 of them were made into casts. But despite being a world-famous 160-year-old archaeological find, the excavation is still in early stages. Authorities are moving slowly so as to not damage the site, because as site director Gabriel Zug-Triegel says, "Excavation is an unrepeatable event. What is excavated remains so forever." Many of the casts have been moved from their original positions, and many placed behind glass. 13 casts, however, have remained where they died at a location called Garden of the Fugitives. These 13 victims died trying to escape a vineyard and outdoor banquet space. They couldn't exit the nearby gates because stones blown out from Vesuvius had already reached almost 11.5 feet, so they were engulfed by the pyroclastic flow. Thermal shock killed them instantly. At present, Pompeii is open and available for the public to visit. Many visitors don't seem to know that the curled, prone, pained, and chalky white forms they're looking at aren't the actual bodies of victims somehow turned to stone. The real bodies are long gone. What remains is an imprint of their final moments left in the lava that consumed them. The site does contain some bones mixed with long-hardened plaster, but no desiccated flesh like a mummy. Archaeologists continue to find skeletal remains throughout the site.
This was life sealed as if in amber.
Folks interested in planning a trip to Pompeii have loads of options to choose from. In 2022, about 3 million tourists visited. Websites like Pompeii Tickets list the opening hours, the best months to visit, how to get there, on-site facilities, and key locations like the Temple of Apollo. Meanwhile, sites like Along Dusty Roads offer historical accounts of Pompeii before and after the eruption. But no matter how you approach Pompeii, or if and when you choose to visit, be prepared to meet some ghosts. Victims' bodies may be gone, but their imprints linger.